Dear friends and students, today I will be telling you about Urdu language and literature and its influence on Indian culture. This lecture is divided into two parts. In the first part, we will discuss about classical period of Urdu literature, and in the second part, we will discuss about the modern period. Classical period. Determination of period. Definition of the period. Determination of the classical period. Friends, classical period of Urdu language and literature is supposed to start from Amir Khusro. His period is 1253 to 1325 and ends with the first freedom struggle in 1857. We can say classical period up to Mirza Ghalib, because major work of Ghalib was completed up to 1857. Definition of the classical period. Friends, generally we suppose our whole period is classical period. However, in some sorts this is true, but this is not a complete picture. All the period of Urdu language and literature is not a classical period. When a language and literature starts developing with the some rules, regulations of poetics and linguistics, also starts developing when the poetics reaches on a certain level, only then classical period starts. To call something classical it is also necessary that some masterpieces of the poetry or other forms of literature must have been developed, and their relevance should be for all times and space. Arrival of Muslims in India. Arrival as businessmen and arrival as ruler. Much before arrival of Mahmud Ghazni and Muhammad Ghori as a ruler, India's relation with Arabs were established in 3rd and 4th century. At that time, Arabs came to India as a businessmen. They were doing business with India, especially India's spices were very popular in Arab world. Influences of these Arabs were limited to South India, especially in Kerala. That time Arabs did not came to North India. Arrival as ruler. When Muslims came to India as ruler, before that many Sufis came to India. They lived in India, learned Indian languages, culture and philosophy. At that time Bhakti movement was getting popularity, especially Nirgun branch of Bhakti and Sufis' views about the word and God were very close. There was long discussion between two. About 1000 years ago, Muslims started to visit India as a victorious king. Then large number of people started to come India. Among these, most important was armed forces, diplomats, administrators and Sufis as well. After the arrival, a new phase of amalgamation started, and as a result a new composite culture was developed. Impacts of Muslims on different field of life. After the arrival of Muslims, there were many changes in Indian life and its impacts were very wide. They were influencing to each other in the following fields of life and culture: composite culture, faith, mysticism and bhakti, music, architecture, paintings, language. Composite culture. These Muslims were from different places, mostly they were Persian, Arabic, Turkish and Afghan, but Persian culture was dominating figure, and Persian was not a totally different culture from Indian culture. because they had a same Aryan root. However, they were meeting to each other after many thousand years. During these thousands of years, there were lots of changes. So after meeting again in India, both cultures started developing in a different way, and basically this was an amalgamation of Indo-Persian culture. They started living together and form again a new culture, which is broadly known as Ganga Jamni Tehzeeb. During this amalgamation, a new understanding was developed in the field of faith, which was broadly based on mysticism and bhakti. Persian music was also fused with Indian music and developed in new forms. Architecture and paintings also took a new shape with mixing. In this way, a new culture was developed, but in this process, the highest impact was seen in language. Beginning of Urdu language. At the time of arrival of Muslim in India, most of Indian languages were passing through a transitional period, and these languages were different in different parts of India. At that time, in Delhi and its surroundings, especially in Meerut and Haryana region, Khadi Boli was being developed, which was basically derived from Sursani Prakrit. Urdu script. Urdu script is based on basically Persian Arabic script, but it adopted many letters as per Indian sounds. There was no concept of sounds like pa, gha, ta, tha, da, dha, na, cha, etc. in Persian or Arabic. Urdu developed these sounds. It also dropped many Arabic Persian sounds which were not relevant in Indian context. Early Urdu literature. After the long process of developing the language, the first reference of literary piece is found at about 1066 AD, which was Diwan of Ghazals compiled by Khwaja Masood Saad Salman of Lahore. Unfortunately, this book of Ghazals in Urdu could not be traced. Only two references are available about the existence of this book. Amir Khusro's Ghuratul Kamal and Muhammad Ufi's Lubabul Albad describes about this book. Amir Khusro 1253 to 1325 AD. The second most important Urdu literary piece came in Khusro's work. Amir Khusro was one of the most important personality of his period. His contribution to Indian culture is very wide. He influenced the music, poetry and faith. His sample of poetry is as following. By this couplet we can understand the flavor of that period's language. Gori sove sej pe, mukh pe dare kees, chal khusro ghar aapne, rain bhai chahundes. My beauty is resting on the bed, face covered with long tresses. Hurry, O Khusro, homeward, for night has engulfed all the four corners. Different views on the development of Urdu language. They are Muhammad Hussain Azad's view, Mahmud Shirani, Sayyid Sulaiman Nadwi and Professor Masood Hussain Khan. Muhammad Hussain Azad was the first person who expressed his views on the origin and roots of Urdu in his famous book Ab-e-Hayat. He wrote that Urdu is developed from Brij Bhasha. His argument is that there are lots of common words in Urdu and Bridge, and structure is also almost same. Mahmood Shirani says Urdu developed from Punjabi. Shirani wrote a book, Punjab Mein Urdu. In that he argued that before reaching to Delhi, Muslim rulers almost 200 years stayed in Punjab. During this period, they developed a language that is Urdu. He researched many similarities between Punjabi and Urdu. But as per Sayyid Sulaiman Nadwi, Urdu developed from Sindhi. His argument is similar to Mahmood Shirani. He wrote that before reaching to Punjab, Muslims were limited to Sindh for the almost 200 years. During that period, they developed a language that is Urdu. But most important view is from Masood Hussain Khan. Professor Masood Hussein's view regarding origin and roots of Urdu is most important and most widely accepted. In his book Muqaddimah-e-Zuban-e-Urdu, he argued that Urdu is developed from Khadi Boli. He widely researched and structure and sound system of Urdu and Khadi Boli and reached to the conclusion that Urdu is closest to Khadi Boli. Now generally Professor Masood Hussain Khan's view is accepted. However, other views also had a little truth. Genres of Urdu literature. Some most important genres of Urdu literature are Ghazal, Qasida, Masnavi, Marsiya. Ghazal is the most important genre of Urdu poetry. In classical period, this was unchallenged most important genre. A famous Urdu critic, Rashid Ahmad Siddiqui, said that Ghazal Urdu शायरी की आबरू है. Ghazal is spirit of Urdu poetry. Ghazal is based on 5 or more couplets. Each couplet has a different topic or content, but that is connected with rhyme, radif and काफिया. दिल ही तो है न संगो खिश्त, दर्द से भर न आए क्यों, रोएंगे हम हजार बार, कोई हमें रुलाए क्यों. It's by Ghalib. It's hurt, dear, no brick or stone. Why should it not brim up with pain? Let no one then oppress the heart, or I shall cry and cry again. Translation H.C. Saraswat. In above couplet, I and Rulai are kafiyas and Kyun is radif. Qasida is content-based genre which is specified for panegyric poetry and mostly written in praise of some great personality, such as Sufis and kings, etc. Mostly it is written in the Ghazal's form. In fact, Ghazal's form is derived from Qasida itself. Here is an example of Qasida. उठ गया बहमन वदे का चमनिस्तान से अमल, तेग अरवी ने किया सहने चमन मुस्तासिल. Bahman and Deen no longer rule the garden. The sword of Urdu has subdued the entire green land. Masnavi. Masnavi is another important genre of Urdu poetry. This is basically a long poem form. This is narrative poetry from. Any story can be narrated in Masnavi, but during classical period, mostly fairy tales were narrated. However, in later Masnavis, some realistic stories also narrated. Masnavi has a specific form. In Masnavi, all couplets, radif and kafiya is used. However, use of radif is not a condition. There could be few couplets with radif and some without radif also, but use of Kafiya is must in Masnavi. Masnavi has fixed 7 rhymes. The poet can use any of these 7 rhymes. Here is an example of Masnavi. देखा तो वो गुल हवा हुआ है, कुछ और ही गुल खिला हुआ है, by Daya Shankar Nasim. When saw the flower was no more there, something else has happened. Marcia. Marcia is a genre for an elegiac epic poetry. This is also a narrative form. However, earlier it was not specified for the narration of Karbala, and this genre was used in praise of any person's holy demise. But in later stage, it was specified only for the martyrdom of Imam Hassan Hussain and their family. यूं बर्छियाँ थी चार तरफ उस जनाब के, यूं बर्छियाँ थी चार तरफ उस जनाब के, जैसे किरण निकलती हैं गिर्द आफ़ताब के. The Honorable was surrounded by the javelin in a way like sun is surrounded by its rays. Other genres of Urdu literature. Other than earlier mentioned, following are the other important genres of Urdu prose and poetry in classical period: Rubai, Qita, Shahra-Shob, Hamd, Naat, Dastan, Tazkira, biography, letter writing. Now we will go to Deccan's literature. In the history of Urdu literature, after the first impression of Khwaja Masood Shah Salman and Amir Khusro's elementary work, Deccan's literature is very important. In fact, continuous evolution of Urdu literature started at Deccan only. The first literary piece of Deccan is Fakhreddin Nizami's Masnavi, Kadam Rao Padam Rao, which was written by Nizami between 1421 to 1434 AD. Since then, up to arrival of Wali Dakhni's Diwan to Delhi at around 1707, Urdu's most of the literature is found here only. During this period of about 300 years, hundreds of Urdu writers contributed to Urdu literature. Some of the most important writers are as following: Fakhreddin Nizami, Ashraf Bayabani, Hasan Sauqi, Quli Qutub Shah, Mulla Wajhi, Wali Dakhni, Siraj Aurangabadi. Among those, Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah, Mulla Wajhi and Siraji Aurangabadi are very important and played a major role in the history of Urdu literature. Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah, 1525 to 1612 AD. Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah is one of the most popular king of Deccan. His contribution as a king, as a patron of Urdu literature, and as a poet is highly precious. He is the first Urdu poet who compiled his Diwan of Ghazal. Diwan means a collection of ghazals as per alphabetic order of Radif. Qutub Shah's sample of poetry is as following: पिया बाज प्याला पिया जाए ना, पिया बाज यकपल जिया जाए ना. Without beloved, it is hard to have a beer. Without beloved, living even for a moment is very tough. Muhammad Quli Qutub Shah's court poet Mulla Wajhi wrote a Masnavi, Qutub Mushtari, which is considered the best Masnavi of Deccan. Wajhi also wrote the first fiction in Urdu. It was a dastan known as Sabras. Wali Dakhni, 1668 to 1707. Wali is not just a good poet, but he played a historical role in the development of Urdu literature. It is said that Wali's Diwan came to Delhi around 1707 AD. Before it, in all the poets of Delhi used to write poetry in Persian only, and then had a belief and they have a belief Urdu is competent enough only for day-to-day communication. Urdu is capable for serious issues such as poetry, and the poets of Delhi saw the Diwan of Wali. Only then they realized that good poetry is possible in Urdu also. Therefore, after a very short time of arrival of Wali's Diwan into Delhi, many poets started writing poetry in Urdu. Sample of poetry: अदाओ नाज सूं आता है वो रोशन जबी घर सूं के जियों मशरिक सूं निकाले आफ्ताब आहिस्ता आहिस्ता. She emerged from the doorway, her forehead sparkling bright, like the rising sun glides from the east, slowly and gracefully. Impacts of Deccan's literature. There are wide and multi-layered impacts of Deccan's literature on the development of Urdu literature and Indian culture. Some of the main impacts are as following. Indian land and its culture dominated in Urdu culture. Development of a composite culture started in Deccan. Many new genres of Urdu as well as Indian literature started for the first time in Deccan. Urdu poetry in Delhi. After the arrival of Wali's Diwan in Delhi, many poets who earlier used to write poetry in Persian, they started writing poetry in Urdu also. But the new and emerging poets started writing poetry in Urdu with full concentration, and they made the first choice Urdu. Some of the most important poets of this period are as following: Khan-e-Arzu, Abru, Faiz, Hatim, Mazhar Jane Jana, Tek Chand Bahar, Fugan, and Taba. Great poets of the era. Within very short time, many Urdu poets emerged in Delhi, but three poets will never forgot in history of Urdu literature. They are classic as per all aspects. They have a very wide appeal. They are relevant even in the today's life, and their language is very developed. Those are Mirza Muhammad Rafi Sauda, Mir Taqi Mir, and Khaja Mir Dard. Mirza Muhammad Rafi Sauda, 1713 to 1780 AD. Mirza Sauda is highly vigorous and versatile poet of this era. He wrote in different forms of Urdu poetry, e.g. Qasida, Ghazal, Shahra, Shob, etc. But he is basically known for his Qasidas. Many scholars believe that he is the greatest Qasida writer poet of Urdu. Sauda was rival of Mir in Ghazal. A couplet is here: गुल फेंके हैं औरों की तरफ बल्कि समर भी, ए खाना बर अंदाज चमन कुछ तो इधर भी. Towards others you tossed flowers, even fruits, something to my side as well, O garden leveler. Mir Taqi Mir, 1722 to 1810 AD. Mir is supposed to be one of the two greatest poets of Urdu with Mirza Ghalib. Though he was most versatile poet of his age, but now he is basically known for his ghazals. He has command over almost all forms of Urdu poetry, especially on Masnavi. Due to this versatility and mastery over the ghazal, he was called Khudae-Sukhan. It means God of Poetry. Senior Hindi poet and critic Vishnu Khare, after analyzing world poetry in 18th century, he reached to this conclusion that Mir is the greatest poet of the world in 18th century. His ghazals are yet very popular and often people used to recite them in their day-to-day life. Mir Taqi Mir is the first Urdu poet who wrote an anthology of Urdu poets with the name of Nikatus Shora in alphabetical order. This genre is called Tazkira. Mir also wrote an autobiography with the name of Zikr Mir. This is also first autobiography of any Urdu writer. Despite of the fact that 2 centuries has been passed, but his poetry is yet fresh. His poetry is being taken in the films. Even today's singers feel relevant to sing his poetry. दिखाई दिए यूं कि बेखुद किया हमें आपसे भी जुदा कर चले. Her beauty was such a gorgeous, I could not remain in my own control, and it separated me from myself. This is a ghazal of Mir which was sung by Lata Mangeshkar for Bazaar film. देख तो दिल के जान से उठता है, ये धुआं सा कहाँ से उठता है. Oh, see whether this smoke is coming from heart or somewhere else. This something like smoke is coming where from is also a ghazal of Mir which was sung by Mehdi Hasan with great enthusiasm and feelings. मत सहल हमें जानू फिरता है फलक बरसों, तब खाक के पर्दे से इंसान निकलते हैं. Don't consider us to be men of easy attainment. The skies revolves for years before man emerges out of the earth's womb. Khwaja Mir Dard 1720 to 1784 AD. Dard belongs to a well-known Sufi saint family of Delhi. His schooling was done in all forms of knowledge as per that period, but mysticism was his passion. He was well versed in classical theories of vocal and instrumental music. He uses to play the sitar and sing also. Dard was one of the most respected person of the city. His shrine still exists in Old Delhi near Zakir Hussain College. As a poet, his diwan consists of ghazals and rubais. In his poetry, all the shades of life are found, including eroticism, but he is basically known for his extraordinary mystic poetry. Some of his couplets are as following. अर्ज़ो समा कहाँ तेरी वुसअत को पा सके, मेरा ही दिल वो है कि जहाँ तू समा सके. The earth and skies cannot measure thy vastness. This is my heart alone that can contain thee. वाय नाकामी के वक्ते मर्ग ये साबित हुआ, ख्वाब था जो कुछ के देखा जो सुना अफसाना था. What great disappointment it is to have it proven at the last moment that all we saw was a dream and all we heard a pleasing tale. सैर कर दुनिया की गाफिल जिंदगानी फिर कहाँ, जिंदगी गर कुछ बाकी रही नौजवानी फिर कहाँ. Enjoy the world's pleasure, for this life would not return. What if some life still remains? The youth will have vanished for good. other poets. Other than these trio greats, there are many poets who are significant, but in this brief history we are not able to give their detail. But this picture can't be completed without their reference. Here we are giving just a few names: Yaqeen Dehlvi, Anand Ram Mukhlis, Qaim Chandpuri, Mir Soz, Jafar Ali Hasrat. Decline of Delhi School of Poetry. At the start of 18th century, almost the whole present India and Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Israel were part of Mughal Empire. But when the 19th century started, a line was famous about Mughal Empire: Hukumat-e Shah Alam, Delhi ta Palam. It means empire of Shah Alam is limited from Delhi to Palam. During these 100 years, Delhi faced dozens of attacks both from inside and outside the country. In this situation, life in Delhi became unbearable, and many poets and other artists started to migrate at safer places. In these circumstances, most poets found Lucknow best place. There they not only found the peace but also honor and wealth, and it was nearest place from Delhi to get such great hostage. Development of Urdu prose. Like poetry, elementary piece of Urdu prose are also found in south. In north only some malfuzat and lexicons are found. In north till the end of 17th century, Urdu was mostly only a spoken language. First full-length Urdu prose book in north is Garbal Katha, which was written in 1732 or 1733 by Sayyid Fazl Ali Fazli. Then till the end of 18th century, many works in Urdu prose are found, some religious, especially translation of Holy Quran and Bible. The most important literary work of this era is Ata Hussain Tahsin's Nau Tarz-e Murassa, that was written in 1775. Fort William College. The East India Company founded Fort William College in 1800 with the purpose of training of newly appointed British officers in Indian languages. John Gilchrist was the head of the college. He himself was well versed in Urdu. Now the problem was that study material was not available for such new students who were totally unknown to Urdu. Till that time, many kinds of poetry, including some masterpieces, were available, but simple and communicative prose, grammar books and dictionaries were not available. To fulfill these requirements, Gilchrist invited many authors and scholars from all over the India. These authors wrote about 50 books. Mostly were independent translations from Persian and Sanskrit. These books developed a new style of Urdu prose which was simple but impressive. Mir Aman's Bagho-Bahar, Haidar Bakhsh Haidari's Araish-e Mehfil and Tota Kahani, Nihal Chand Lahori's Mazhab-e-Ishq, Kazim Ali Jawan's Sakuntala and Singhasan Battisi, etc. are some of the important books written in Fort William College. These books got a place in Urdu prose much later. At that time, this simple and communicative style was not accepted in Urdu literary circle. In reaction of these books, Rajab Ali Beg of Lucknow wrote a dastan Fasana-e Ajaib, and few others in ornate and decorative style. These books were more acceptable in Urdu's literary circle. But at that time, the most popular trend of Urdu prose was Dastan, which is close to fables and early romance in English literature. This was oral and performing form of prose. People used to gather on a fixed place at nights, and storyteller starts telling the story. The storyteller used to tell the story whole night. These dastans were often stories of prince and princess, which were very imaginative and creative. The greatest piece of this series is Dastan Amir Hamza, which was very popular at that time. It was compiled only at the end of 19th century. Amir Hamza is collection of few dastans, which is based on 46 volumes and about 45,000 pages. This is one of the longest book in history of world literature. Delhi College. Delhi College was established in 1825 after almost quarter century of Fort William College. In contrast to Fort William College, Delhi College was established for the Indian students. Here in Delhi College, science, mathematics, humanities and other fields of modern knowledge were taught through Urdu medium. To fulfill this purpose of the college, many books of mathematics, biology, botany, chemistry, philosophy, geography, law, medicine, etc. were translated into Urdu. Master Ramchandar was the most prolific writer and translator of this college. He also edited two magazines, Ajaib-e-Rozgar and Tazkiratul Kamelin. His work in mathematics was highly recognized in Britain also. Maulvi Mamluk Ali, Motilal Dehlvi, Master Hussaini, Dharam Narayan and Ayodhya Prasad were some other important translators of this college. Sir Syed Ahmad Khan, Deputy Nazir Ahmad, Waqarul Mulk, etc. were the most outstanding students of this college. Lucknow Translation Bureau. Awadh was the first Indian state which established Shahi, means Royal Translation Bureau, which was known as the Shahi Press. Lucknow Translation Bureau was established in 1827 by its ruler Nasiruddin Shah Haidar. Kamaluddin Haidar was declared the supervisor of this bureau. A different poet, Nazir Akbarabadi, 1735 to 1830. Wali Muhammad Nazir Akbarabadi was born in Delhi, but he was shifted to Agra, which is also known as Akbarabad, with his parents in his early age. Nazir Akbarabadi was a teacher and he lived the life with its fullest. He used to celebrate and enjoy all the festivals, traditions, faiths, weather conditions and everything, whatever was happening in the Agra. He followed another tradition of Urdu poetry, which was almost vanished at that time. He followed the rich tradition of Amir Khusro, Kabir and Quli Qutub Shah, etc. That was genuinely a composite culture of India. At that time, Urdu poetry was dominated by the classical tradition, which was very sophisticated by rules and regulations of forms of poetry and language. In this era of classical poetry, Nazir Akbarabadi followed the folk traditions of Urdu. He wrote the poems on all occasions of life, about the festivals, celebrations, hawkers items like kakdi, cucumber, laddu, sweet, tarboos, watermelon, etc. He was a person who was really connected to his soil and wrote the poetry which was directly related to the life of ordinary people. Poems such as होली, जन्म कन्हैया जी, बैरागी, बरसात की बहारें, बंजारा नामा and आदमी नामा are the most representative poems of Nazir Akbar Abadi. He also wrote a few ghazals. मगरूर न हो तलवारों पर मत फूल सहारे ढालों के, सब पट्टा तोड़ के भागेंगे मुँह देख अजल के भालों के। क्या डिब्बे मोती हीरों के, क्या ढेर खजाने मालों के, क्या बागचा तैश तमामी के, क्या तख्ते साल दोशाले के, सब ठाट पड़ा रह जाएगा जब लात चलेगा बंजारा। Pride not yourself on the swords, don not arrogant on the shields. They will break all bonds and run away on seeing the death's spears. Whether it's the of pearls and diamonds or heaps of treasures, bundles of brocades or bales of shawls and double shawls. All the pomp will be left behind when the wandering merchant decides to pack up. Urdu poetry in Lucknow. With the decline of Mughal Empire, many semi-independent governors declared themselves independent. In this series, Awadh also became an independent state. During the period of Burhanul Mulk Saadat Khan, Safdarjung and Shujauddaulah, Faiza was the center of their empire. His successor Asifuddaulah shifted his capital to Lucknow. The Nawabs of Awadh invited many poets, intellectuals and nobles from Delhi and gave them due honor and livelihood. In this context, it can be said that the culture and literature of Lucknow was basically an extension of Delhi, but in later stage it developed in a little different way. Poets such as Khan-e-Arzu, Fuqa, Mirza Muhammad Rafi Sauda, Mir Taqi Mir, Mir Zahid, Mir Hasan were already established and matured in Delhi. They came to Lucknow at last stage of life. Insha Mushafi Jurrat. There is another category of poets who shifted to Lucknow from Delhi at early stage. Inshallah Khan Shah, Ghulam Hamdani Mushafi, Jurrat. These poets started writing poetry in Delhi and were being well received, but they lived a long life in Lucknow and their basic identity is as a poet of Lucknow. Later they developed a new genre of poetry called Rehti, which is women's feeling based poetry. Credit goes to Insha and Rangin for starting and developing Rehti. Atash. Atash and Nasik are the most representative ghazals poet of Lucknow. All the earlier ghazals poets mentioned in this category were born and brought up in Delhi. Later they shifted to Lucknow, but Atash and Nasik belongs to Awadh only and established themselves in Lucknow. Both poets has a deep study of life. They expressed their feeling and experiences in very sophisticated and but communicative style. Atash was influenced with mysticism. This gives him a philosophical solution of life. Here are some examples of poetry of Atash. सुन तो सही जहाँ में है तेरा फसाना क्या, कहती है तुझको खल्क़े खुदा गायबाना क्या. Hark how your story goes rounds in the wide world and how they speak of you behind your back. हिज्र में वस्ल का मिलता है मज़ा आशिक को, शौक़ का मर्तबा जब हद से गुज़र जाता है. The lover tastes union in moments of separation too, but only when passion has overcome limitations. Nasikh. Here is an example of Nasikh's poetry. पूछ है नासिख न कुछ मेरी उदासी का सबब, आप में दिन रात हैरान हूँ, हुआ है क्या मुझे. Don't ask me, Nasikh, why I feel so forlorn. I myself wondered day and night what must have happened to me. Rise of Masnavi genre. Though Masnavi was not a new genre, first it was developed in Deccan and then in Delhi, but in Lucknow it reached to new heights. Three greatest poets of Masnavi emerged in Lucknow: Mir Hasan (1727 to 1786) is basically famous for his Masnavi Sahrul Bayan. His other Masnavis are Rumuzul Afrin and Gulzar-e-Iram. Though Mir Hasan belongs to Delhi, he migrated to Lucknow like many other poets of his age. Dayasankar Nasim is known for his Masnavi Gulzar-e-Nasim. This is a very fine example of creativity and compactness. Nawab Mirza Shauq's Masnavi Zahr-e-Ishq is most important. His other Masnavis are Fareb-e-Ishq and Bahar-e-Ishq. Mir Hasan and Dayasankar Nasim's Masnavis are in traditional fairy tale style, but Mirza Shauq's Masnavi is realistic. Great poets of Marsiya. Like Masnavi, Marsiya is also an old form of Urdu poetry. It was also started in Deccan and developed in Delhi. Marsiya reached to its peak in Lucknow. The credit goes to two great Marsiya poets, Mir Anis and Mirza Dabir. This is the most developed and attractive form of narrative poetry in Urdu. Marsiya is based on the following components. Number 1, Chehra means introduction. Number 2, Rukhsat, parting from family for battle. Amad, entry into battlefield. Rajas, narrating the greatness of family, self and swords, etc. Jang, combat. Shahadat, martyrdom. Dua, prayer and epilogue. Mir Anis, 1801 to 1874 AD. Mir Anis is supposed to be the greatest poet of Marsiya. He mastered in almost every component of Marsiya. His command over accurate use of words in poetry is exceptionally good. Whatever he narrates, it could be an emotional separation from family or combat with the enemies. It is almost perfect. तायर हवा में मस्त हिरन सब्ज़ ज़ार में, जंगल के शेर गूंज रहे थे कछार में. Birds were juggling in the air, deers were grazing in grassland, and the line of forest was roaring in the bushes of river bank. Mirza Dabir, 1803 to 1875 AD. Mirza Salamat Ali Dabir was a contemporary of Mir Anis. As both poets were specialized in Marsiya and were living in the same city, both poets were established masters with lots of disciples. Therefore, often they had a rivalry. There was always a comparison between two. Mirza Dabir had a different style of expression. His metaphors and similes were far from routine life. Therefore, it was little tough to understand them, but there is no doubt that he is one of the greatest two poets of Marsiya. कहिए न महर सुबह के सीने पे दाग था, उम्मीद अहले बैत का घर बेचराग था. don't say it, son. It was a blemish on the chest of the morning. Now the hope of Prophet's family was without luminosity. Amanat Lakhnavi. In extent to Wajid Ali Shah's Rahas, Sayyid Agha Hussain Amanat wrote an opera Indra Sabha in 1952, which is based on the Hindu mythology. This is not only Urdu's but also North India's first full-length play in modern period. It played a very important role to revive the great tradition of Sanskrit plays. This play got an exceptionally popularity. Its shows were held village to village and it also crossed the boundaries of the country. It was translated and transcribed into many Indian languages and German also, even before the end of the 19th century. Wajid Ali Shah, 1823 to 1887. Wajid Ali Shah was the last Nawab of Lucknow. He was highly multifaceted person. He wrote about 50 books, including some edited books. These books are on the wide range of topics such as poetry. Even in poetry he wrote in the genre of Masnavi, Marsiya, Ghazal, Salam and Geet. His two collections of Geet, Najo and Dulhan are based on the different forms of singing such as Dhrupad, Sargam, Hori, Khayal, Tarana, Tappa, Thumri, Dadra and folk also. He wrote autobiography both in prose and poetry. He also wrote books on religion, rhyme, constitution and history. His book Bunny is highly appreciated, which is based on music and dance. His books also include many collection of letters and diary. During his princehood 1842 to 1847, he prepared music and dance based play Radha Kanhaiya. This series of plays called Rahas, in which he himself played the role of Krishna, the first play of North India, and history of Urdu and Hindi plays starts with this play. During his rule, he paid 1700 poets and writers. He became the king of Lucknow in 1847 and was removed in 1856. After that, he lived his whole life in Kolkata in custody of Britain. Here I present a couplet of King Poet. ढाल रखता नहीं, तलवार नहीं, शायर हूँ, चल भी मेरी फ़कीराना है, आज़ाद हूँ मैं. ढाल रखता नहीं, तलवार नहीं, शायर हूँ, चाल भी मेरी फ़कीराना है, आज़ाद हूँ मैं. I don't keep shield, don't have sword. I'm a poet, I walk like wandering, and I'm independent. Delhi before siege. At that time, Shah Alam was the Mughal Empire. He could not maintain Hukumate Shah Alam Dilli Tapalam. In 1803, East India Company took over the charge of Delhi administration, and one time's great Mughal emperor became the pensioner of East India Company. Now his administration remained limited with the boundaries of Red Fort, but the cultural life in Delhi continued, and before the final end of great Mughal culture in 1857, it produced its greatest personality of cultural life. Of course, it was Ghalib, yes, Mirza Asadullah Khan Ghalib, but he was not all alone in Delhi. His contemporaries such as Hakim Momin Khan Momin, Sheikh Ibrahim Zauq, Shefta, Azulda and Fazl Haq Khairabadi are very important. but the most important name who was in the center of all cultural activities is a different poet and the last Mughal empire, Bahadur Shah Zafar. Sheikh Ibrahim Zawq is famous for the Qasida. In Qasida, it is supposed to be second best poet after Sauda. But in Ghazal too, he was mentor of many poets. The lucidity, excellent use of Delhi's idiom, and impressiveness are the most important qualities of his poetry. During his life, he got honor more than Ghalib for poetry, but later things changed. This is his famous couplet, अब तो घबरा के ये कहते हैं कि मर जाएंगे, मर के भी चैन न पाया तो किधर जाएंगे. In desperation I cried out, I would rather die. Where shall I go if peace eludes even death? Bahadur Shah Zafar. During the first war of independence, he was announced the national leader of independent India. He faced more oppression. He witnessed the execution of his all sons. He watched the women of his royal family are running in the streets of Delhi. He himself was forced to leave Delhi and remaining life in Rangoon. All his agony is reflected in his poetry. न किसी की आँख का नूर हूँ, न किसी के दिल का करार हूँ, जो किसी के काम न आ सके, मैं वो एक मुश्ते गुबार हूँ. My life gives out no ray of light. I bring no solace to hurt or eye. Out of dust to dust again, of no use to anyone am I. Momin Khan Momin. Other than being a poet, Momin Khan Momin was a master physician. He also has a good knowledge of mathematics and astrology. Music was his passion. He was master in the game of chess also. Sometimes his knowledge in these fields enriches his poetry also. He is basically known for his ghazals and love masnavi. सारी कटी इश्क के बुता में मोमिन, आखिरी वक्त में क्या खाक मुसलमान होंगे. Having spent a whole life in the loves of the beauteous deeds, what is the fun in moments becoming a Muslim in these last moments of life? Asadullah Khan Ghalib. Mirza Asadullah Khan Ghalib is one of the best poets which yet has born on the Indian soul. He was born at a time when the Mughal culture was on high decline. Western culture was rising. Ghalib was brought up in purely Mughal culture, but later he found strength their own culture during his youth. Ghalib visited to Kolkata and saw the changing world. Ghalib is the first poet not only in Urdu but also among all Indian languages who has expressed modern thinking. He was much advanced than his time. He is asking too much questions from life, from beloved, from God itself. He is in search of the meaning of life, existence and value of mankind. रात दिन गर्दिश में है सात आसमां, हो रहेगा कुछ न कुछ घबराएं क्या. The seven skies are revolving night and day. Something is bound to happen. Why worry then? है कहाँ तमन्ना का दूसरा कदम या रब, है कहाँ तमन्ना का दूसरा कदम या रब, हमने दश्ते इम्का को एक नक्श पा पाया. Where, O Lord, is the next hop to check off my yearnings? I find the wilderness of limit to be just a footprint. दिल ही तो है न संगो खिश्त, दर्द से भर न आए क्यों, रोएंगे हम हजार बार, कोई हमें रुलाए क्यों। इट्स अ हार्ट dear, no brick or stone, why should it not brim up with pain? Let no one then oppress this heart, or I shall cry and cry again. 1857. On the 11th May 1857, the anger and suffering of Indians exploded against British rule. Very soon they took over the charge of Meerut camp and marched towards Delhi, and took over to Delhi also. They announced Bahadur Shah Zafar as King of India. This war of independence got the first in almost the entire north and western parts of India. But this war could not sustain too long. In September, Britishers got success in Delhi. Then one by one they took back every battlefield. Now they were unchallenged king of India. Now their operation intensified more rudely. They killed and prosecuted thousands of people on every front. They brought more divisive policies for Indians. In the short period of Indian ruling during the War of Independence, many positive results were found. Now Hindu Muslims were more united in Delhi. Muhammad Bakht Khan drafted a constitution for the future ruling for a better and prosperous life of Indian people. It was written in Urdu and yet available. Urdu on the center state of Indian culture. During the period, the whole classical period, Urdu was the only language which was widely spoken in a major part of India. Though there are many languages in India, but mostly they are limited to one or two states. If a person of Delhi meets to another person from Hyderabad, Kolkata or Mumbai, then Urdu was the only language in which they can exchange their views. Hindi got this status very late, only last quarter of 19th century. Till that time, Hindi was limited in different local dialects. Other than languages and literature, Urdu has a culture which influenced whole India as well as world also. In Urdu culture, there are architecture such as Taj Mahal, Red Fort in Agra, Red Fort and Jama Masjid in Delhi, Rumi Darwaza and Imam Bada in Lucknow, Charminar and Golconda in Hyderabad. Mughlai fashion, food habits, music, paintings, all developed and presented world-class foods are still supposed to be one of the best foods of Indian, and these foods are famous worldwide. Again, foods of Delhi, Lucknow and Hyderabad are highly popular. Similarly, the fashion developed in the Urdu culture, its festivals and its lifestyle still today are one of the finest mosaic of India. So friends, here I conclude my first part of this lecture. The next part I will be covering in my second lecture. Thank you.